is Valley News Live at 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. New for you at 4. Two Fargo house fires are now being investigated as arson, and investigators are on the search for suspects. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley joins us live now near downtown Fargo. Bailey, what can you tell us?
Stacey, I'm at the Hamilton apartment complexes right now. This is just in the 300 block of 7th Avenue North. And here is where fire crews responded on May 10th, just before 6 a.m. And they had to save multiple people who were trapped on the second floor of this apartment complex. Then just about a few hours later, and about a mile down the road, crews responded just after the 4 o'clock hour to the 1400 block of 2nd Avenue North. And that's where they say that they responded to a 2-alarm fire on a building on the home's property, although they are very close in proximity, and the fires only happen hours apart. At this time, fire crews say that the two incidents do not seem to be related. They say that this does remain a very open and active investigation. For now, live in downtown Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Thanks, Bailey. Fire officials also say a deck fire on May 11th at 6126 24th Street South was caused by improperly discarded smoking materials. Damage is estimated at $105,000. A Mapleton man is cleaning up his garage after it caught fire this afternoon. Crews responded to the fire at 501 2nd Street just after 1 p.m. Multiple agencies responded to that fire, including the West Fargo Fire Department. West Fargo Fire Chief Dan Fuller says the damage was contained to the garage. There were some concerns about ammunition stored in the garage, but crews were able to knock down the fire before it became an issue.
I'm very proud of the work they did before we got here. They definitely saved this gentleman's house and all his belongings.
No one was injured, but power went out for a few houses on the block. No word yet on what caused that fire. We're learning more this afternoon about the man shot and killed outside a restaurant and nightclub in Fargo yesterday. Friends of the victim say he was in his mid-20s and was only in his second week working as a security guard at the club. Fargo police say they plan on releasing the name of that suspect this afternoon. The shooting happened around 2 yesterday morning in the parking lot behind the Africa restaurant and nightclub in the 4500 block of 7th Avenue South. Eyewitnesses say there were about 10 shots fired. One of the neighbors in the area says they saw two vehicles leave the scene shortly after that shooting. Now let's check in with Hutch for a first look at the forecast. Hutch?
Stacey, thanks so much. A warm day across the valley as we take a look at your temperatures. 80 to 85 degrees here in the south. That's pretty nice. It's a little on the breezy side, though. Hold on to your hat. 87, that peak temperature down in Sisseton. 77 Langdon and Devil's Lake at 76 degrees for a peak temperature today. Rumble of thunder or two heading towards Duluth and the Big Lake right now, and a swirling storm system near Calgary and Saskatoon. Those are fun to say. We'll be heading our way and creating some unsettled conditions, but not until later in the forecast period. Tonight, 80s all the way till after sunset, then quickly falling with our dry air. It'll be a little less windy once we get through sunset. Same thing for Grand Forks. Coming up in a few moments, we'll have the review of all of the rain and how that benefited the drought out west. And we'll also look at more rain in the extended forecast here in just a few minutes.
All right. Thanks so much, Hutch. 2 people are displaced after a fire at an apartment complex in Dilworth this morning. Sheriff Mark Empting says when they arrived, smoke was coming out of the roof. The fire was confined to 2 apartments on the 3rd floor, and firefighters were able to quickly put it out. No one was hurt, and no word yet on what started that fire. West Fargo public school students may have the option of learning virtually next year. The district is exploring the option in the school board meeting tonight. As for the other districts in the FM area, Fargo Public Schools will not be offering a virtual option, but they are exploring a partnership with the North Dakota Center for Distance Education for families who may need it. Moorhead is also looking into keeping the virtual option based on guidance they received from the state. We'll have the latest from the West Fargo School Board meeting tonight on Valley News Live at 9 and 10. A disabled veteran from Moorhead says he was duped by a Republican operative into running for former Representative Colin Peterson's congressional seat. Kevin Shore says he assumed the person recruiting him to run was from the grassroots Legalized Cannabis Party, but he was wrong. That person was Kip Christensen, a GOP strategist who was on the payroll of the Republican National Committee. Shores says Christensen deceived him into running to siphon votes away from Democratic candidates. Christensen denies misrepresenting himself. Peterson went on to lose the general election to Republican Michelle Fischbach. Air travel is picking up in North Dakota, but not to the level it was before the pandemic. The state's 8 commercial service airports saw a significant increase in passenger numbers last month compared to April 2020. The State Aeronautics Commission says the airports in Bismarck, Minot, Williston, Dickinson, Grand Forks, Fargo, Jamestown, and Devils Lake collectively had about 62,000 passenger boardings last month. In April of last year, just about 5,000 passengers traveled by air, the lowest monthly total since record keeping began 4 decades ago. You can walk in and get a COVID vaccine in Moorhead tomorrow. No appointment necessary. Clay County Public Health is holding another walk-in COVID vaccine clinic. It runs from 3 to 5:30 at the Umcombe Center. The health department is offering both the single-shot Johnson & Johnson and Moderna vaccines, which are only approved for those 18 and older. Need a lift to get a COVID vaccine? Free rides start today. Lyft and Uber are offering free rides to vaccination sites for people getting vaccines today through July 4th. Both rideshare companies covering the trip to tens of thousands of vaccination sites nationwide. For more information or to book a free trip, check out the Lyft or Uber app. And if you're looking for places to get the vaccine, use our VNL vaccine tracker. It's on the homepage of our website, or you can open your phone camera and point it at the QR code on your screen and tap the link that pops up. Strong words today from the head of the World Health Organization on the global distribution of vaccines. The WHO Director General says the pandemic is being perpetuated by a scandalous inequity in vaccine distribution. He's urging countries to donate vaccine doses to the international COVAX initiative. The goal, he said, is to inoculate 10% of people in all countries by September and 30% by the end of the year.
More than 75% of all vaccines have been administered in just 10 countries. There is no diplomatic way to say it. A small group of countries that make and buy the majority of the world's vaccines control the fate of the rest of the world.
Dr. Tedros also called on vaccine manufacturers to give COVAX the first right of refusal on new volumes of vaccines, or to commit 50% of their volumes to COVAX this year. Today, President Biden received a briefing from officials at the Federal Emergency Management Administration, or FEMA, on the upcoming hurricane season. His visit comes as Congress is likely to miss a couple of legislation deadlines over the next few days on 2 of the president's top issues. Skylar Henry has more from the White House.
President Biden visited FEMA headquarters the same day the White House announced he will direct $1 billion to states, communities, and tribal governments for disaster preparation.
We're going to spare no expense, no effort to keep Americans safe and respond to crises when they arise.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says it's expecting an above-normal hurricane season this year, with a likely range of 13 to 20 named storms.
We're going to be prepared. We have to be ready.
This week, President Biden is also facing self-imposed deadlines on 2 key issues: infrastructure and police reform.
Mr. President!
The president will meet privately with members of George Floyd's family at the White House Tuesday, marking the 1-year anniversary of his killing. Congress is not likely to meet the president's calls to reach a deal by Tuesday on the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act.
We're making good progress, hopeful progress, but we still have a lot of work to do.
President Biden also wants to see significant progress on his American Jobs Plan by Memorial Day. Last week, the president gave Republicans a counteroffer, slashing his infrastructure plan from $2.3 to $1.7 trillion.
The ball is in their court. We are awaiting their counterproposal. We would welcome that.
At the heart of the negotiations is defining the scope of the bill.
Senate Republicans say the president's new proposal is still well above what they believe Congress can pass with bipartisan support, though talks with the administration continue. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The White House says the president is signing the Alaska Tourism Restoration Act into law today. That bill will allow cruise ships to return to the state this year by temporarily waiving a requirement that foreign-owned vessels stop in Canada. Canada has banned cruise ships until 2022 because of the pandemic. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is asking Minnesotans for a moment of silence tomorrow in honor of George Floyd's death. The moment of silence will take place tomorrow at 1 p.m. for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, the amount of time Derek Chauvin kneeled with his knee on Floyd's neck. Black Lives Matter Fargo Moorhead will be holding a celebration at Island Park tomorrow to remember George Floyd. The group will be meeting in front of the Island Park pool from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Everyone is asked to bring flowers. Overnight lane closures continue this week in Moorhead. This week we'll focus on I-94 with various bridges for crack sealing and bridge flushing, removing sand and other particles that will deteriorate the bridges. That work will go until Thursday from 8 at night until 6:30 in the morning. You can use 511 to check your route before heading out. Spring cleaning was a success in Fargo this year. Crews hauled away more than 1,000 tons of trash from Fargo residents' curbs during cleanup week. That's a grand total of 669 truckloads collected. An additional 75 tons was brought to the residential transfer station throughout cleanup week. Coming up, after days of fighting, the latest on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
But next, it was a beautiful start to the day. Cloud-free skies, the showers and strong thunderstorms stayed for the most part out of our area. Well, the drought, it's been a difficult start to the summer out west. We have some more rain on the way. I'll have hour-by-hour details. Join me. Weather is next.